Am I the asshole for leaving in the middle of a celebration after the disgusting toast my husband gave about me? Trust me, watch to the end. It's not going where you think. I, a 25-year-old female, married my husband, a 31-year-old male, 3 years ago. I'm currently pregnant with our first baby together. We found out it's a girl, and my in-laws wanted to invite us over for dinner for the gender reveal announcement and celebration. We got there and saw many relatives come in to congratulate us and celebrate. We sat at the dinner table and I barely ate. I was feeling so much anxiety and was sort of upset my husband didn't warn me about how many people were coming, but I tried to stay calm and collected. Anyways, after the announcement and in the middle of the celebration, my husband wanted to give a toast. He opened up a bottle and poured a drink and wished that our daughter be healthy, happy, but look nothing like me. What? Everyone at the table laughed. I sat there staring in shock while he kept laughing with them. I felt so much rage and my anxiety got out of hand, not gonna lie. I got up and took my purse and made my way out. His mom followed me asking if I was okay, and I told her I just wanted to go home. He came to the door asking what was wrong. That's when we started arguing. He told me that it was a joke toast and that my reaction was over the top. But the thing is, ever since I got pregnant, he kept hinting he doesn't want our daughter to look like me. He even once got up in the morning and first thing he told me was how much he wished our daughter looked nothing like me. It hurt me while I'm already dealing with low self-esteem and anxiety. I wanted to go home, but he said I was being a baby and that I should learn to take a effing joke. I said he made everyone laugh at me, but he defensively said that he didn't want me to walk out of the dinner and be so disrespectful to the relatives who came to celebrate and share our joy. I went home and he called me many times telling me to get my insecurities in check. Family. Am I the a-hole? Look, man, you are not the a-hole. I don't know what world your husband comes from, but in no shape, fashion, or form is it cool for the husband and the future father to be making fun of a pregnant woman while she is carrying his child. Especially not her appearance, and especially not that way. There is no world in which this makes any sense, and I hope his mom has enough sense to sit down and tell him that, because apparently she knew something was wrong and she had to follow you out of the venue and ask if you were okay. So no, there is no way that we could take this as being cool. And maybe I could give him a pass if it had simply been a one-time joke. Or maybe he said it one way in his head and it came out of his mouth a totally different way. But no, he's been saying this before, and I don't know what woman on earth would want to wake up to that at any point in their life. Like, maybe once it could be a bad joke, but after like the 34th time, I'm just gonna start thinking, you think I'm ugly.
Am I the asshole for telling my coworker that it's creepy that she has a nanny cam to watch her husband? Disclaimer, this is not my story. My female 29 coworker, female 32, has been going through some rough times lately. Her husband has respiratory issues and was admitted to the hospital for 2 weeks. He's at home now and is bedridden. The other day, me, her, and our other coworkers were sitting together chatting when I noticed my coworker looking at a live video of her husband sleeping in their bedroom. Out of curiosity, I asked her about it and she said she installed a nanny cam to be able to watch her husband while she's away from home. Not gonna lie, this felt kind of violating to me, especially when she said he didn't know she put the camera in there. I pointed at her phone and said that it was creepy of her to do that without him knowing about it. The other coworker stared at us. She then lashed out, saying that she was doing this out of concern for him because although his sister comes over to take care of him, she still needs to keep an eye on him. I said that it was my opinion and that situations like this do not exactly excuse violating someone's privacy. She got mad and said that I might be projecting, which may be true, but it was still about the concept of privacy. We had an argument that got a bit loud. She walked away saying that I was judgmental and that it was none of my business anyway. The other coworkers were split on the issue. Some of them chose to stay out of it, and some agree with me that my coworker has no respect for her husband's privacy. Given the current atmosphere of the office, I'm beginning to think that I shouldn't have talked to her about it. She keeps avoiding me now. Am I the asshole for going home after my fiance revealed that I had to pay for her birthday dinner with friends and family? Disclaimer, this is not my story. My fiancé Rose, 31 female's birthday was a few days ago. Usually she has a big celebration for her birthday every year. This year she wasn't really able to since she's been out of a job for a whole 5 months. She got depressed over the fact that she would have to have a small party at home and lately started talking me into funding her birthday celebration. She offered a number of compromises like picking out a cheaper restaurant and inviting less people. The answer was no, and here's why. I have a 5-year-old son with a chronic condition and I need every penny to be able to afford hospital bills. My fiancé kept begging me until I blew up at her and told her it won't happen. She stopped bringing it up after that. But out of the blue, she said she was going to have her birthday party at a restaurant and invite some family and friends. I said, really, that's great, I'm happy for you, but where'd you get the money? She said her parents would be paying for everything and said I should join them. We arrived at the restaurant, had dinner, drinks, and her birthday cake. We had a great time until the bill came. My fiancé put it in front of me and smiled nervously. I knew something was off with her behavior. I asked why she did that, and she told me she lied about having her parents pay for the celebration and that she set this whole thing up to get me to pay just this time and she might consider paying me back later. I asked if she was kidding, but she just stared at me. I was pissed but didn't want to make a scene in public after her parents tried to get me to suck it up and pay. I got up and grabbed my phone and turned to leave. She started shouting after me, but I shouted back saying that I was just a guest and I had to go home then. I went home, but she never came home. I found out she went with her parents and later had them send some nasty text to me calling me self-centered, selfish, and unreasonable. They also accused me of prioritizing money over my future wife and pulling this nasty stunt on her birthday. I texted back saying she could have settled for a party at home, but she didn't. She refused to talk to me for now, and her parents keep saying I embarrassed their daughter in front of everyone, including her friends. Am I the asshole for calling the police on my fiancé? Disclaimer, this is not my story. Last night, my 35 male fiancé, 38 female, left in the evening to give a friend's son a ride back to his home. She said that she would be home before 9, she left around 7:45. 10:15 rolled around and she still wasn't home. I texted and she apologized to me saying that her friend's son was actually in the next town over, which was 30 minutes away, and she was coming home now. 11:45 rolled around and she still wasn't home, so I called her and got no answer. I then texted her and got no response. I was getting very upset. It was then 12:30 and I got no texts or calls. Around 1:30, my anger had turned into worry because there was no answer to my calls and my texts were not read. Around 1:45, I called the police. I've always heard that the first 24 hours of someone being missing is the most important, so I didn't want to delay. I asked them to let me know if there had been any traffic accidents involving her car, and the operator told me that they would put in the word and send the cops to check along the route she would travel. I called all the hospitals in the area to check if she had been checked in, and I waited outside watching the road for her car for 3 hours. At 7 a.m., she came home. She apologized for being out and said she had no excuse. She was driving home and felt tired, like she was falling asleep at the wheel, so she pulled over to the side of the road and slept. I called the cops and told them that she had came home safely and told them to stop searching, which they did. The police said they had to do a wellness check after a missing person is found, so they ended up going to her job to check on her. She's now mad at me for calling the police and sending a cop to her job and making her look bad. She said I was overreacting and she wasn't missing, and that I was punishing her for doing the responsible thing and not driving drowsy.
Have you heard about the Lululemon murder? If you're having problems with one of your coworkers, listen to this because your life might depend on it. Okay, so boom, let's jump right into it. Brittany Norwood was an employee for Lululemon located in Maryland. Brittany had a very long criminal history of stealing. She stole from family and friends, and her ex-boyfriend even had to get a restraining order against her because she broke into his house and robbed him. And now that Brittany was working at Lululemon's, things were no different. She began stealing when she would work, and the employees and managers started noticing things missing also when she would work. They knew she was stealing, but they needed proof. They needed to actually catch her stealing. That brings us to Jana Murray, a 30-year-old woman who also worked at Lululemon. One night, both Brittany and Jana had closing shifts, and when they were done, it was time to leave. Policy is to check every staff member bag before they leave, so that's exactly what Jana did. She checked Brittany's bag, and of course, she found a pair of leggings that was not paid for. Brittany was stealing, and she finally got caught. Jana then told Brittany that she would have to tell the store manager, and Brittany tried to convince her that she did pay for it, but of course, that wasn't true. Jana locked the door, and Brittany and Jana now were making their way home. This is when Brittany made her plan. She didn't want to get fired for stealing, so she lured Jana back into Lululemon. She called Jana saying that she left her Metro card inside the store and she needed Jana to unlock the door so she could get it and go home. Of course, Jana comes back to help, but unfortunately, Jana did not know this would be her last moment on earth. Brittany lured Jana to the back hallway and attacked her with these weapons found in the store. She used 5 of the weapons and she stabbed Jana 331 times cold-blooded. As all this screaming and dragging was happening, there was an Apple store next to Lululemon with CCTV cameras, and as you can see, they went to the wall listening to the whole thing, but they didn't call the cops because they thought it was petty drama. After the murder happened, she then tried to stage the scene and make it look like they were robbed. She emptied the cash register. She took a Lululemon size 13 shoe and walked on blood to make fake footprints, washed the shoe off and put it back on the shelf, cut herself all over her body to make it seem like she was attacked. She drove Jana's car like 3 miles away. She even cut off her crotch area so that they could think that she was sexually assaulted. She then zip tied her hands and feet to make it seem like she was robbed and waited till somebody found her the next day. But did her plan work? Like and follow for part 2. Stepping away from the story real quick, as you can see, taking your mental health serious is very important. So I want you guys to click the link in my bio and download my ebook, I Am Enough. Self-love, self-care, and mental health while you find your confidence. Ebook by me, Valerie Slays, and the link is going to be in my bio, guys. The Lululemon murder case part 2. Okay, so boom, like I said, after killing Jayna, she tried to make it seem like they were robbed. So she emptied out the cash registers, she cut herself, she moved her car, just a lot of things, including tying herself up and waiting for someone to find her to make it seem like this was a robbery gone extremely wrong. Everyone believed her at first, but after investigators started investigating, things were not adding up. The Apple employees next to the Lululemon store said that they didn't hear any men speaking. They only heard women speaking and screaming, not the men that Britney claimed robbed them. And when they eventually found Jayna's car that Britney moved, they found Britney's blood and Jayna's blood in the car. Also, while Britney was being interrogated, at one point the investigators stepped out and left her and her brother in the room by themselves. At that point, she basically confessed to the killing, not knowing that they were being recorded the whole time. She's been convicted of first-degree murder, premeditated, and she is sentenced to life in prison without possibility of parole. Watch out for your coworkers, guys.